what I really teach is about authenticity. Like that's my main thing, and it's about aligning with your authentic self. It's about transformation, it's about wellness, it's about health. Like I have all these little tiers, these pillars that I talk about. But the interesting thing is I decided to teach this class today because procrastination has been my friend and foe for many years. And, I think it's something that needs to be talked about because of the fact that it's just so common. And we really like nail ourselves all the time because of it. Like we get very upset with ourselves because of the procrastination piece. So it's one of those things where it's about changing your mindset, changing your perspective. So I'm going to ask Colleen if I can. Oh, and by the way, I love questions. I might not be able to pay attention to the chat as we go. So my goal is to end a little bit sooner. We have till what? We have till 1 o'clock, right, Colleen? It's till one.
Yeah, so you want to
Okay.
leave a little bit of time for questions at the end? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So this is so funny because I'm so not used to like presenter mode. So I'm asking Colleen a question. She's like this big on my screen, and I'm like, hello, here I am. So and if we could share the screen, because I have a little presentation that I want to share with you, and I just think it would just add to it.
Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
oh, there we go. Yay. All right. Now I just have to find it. Okay, here we go. All right. So, let me move my stuff here and get this going. And okay, so procrastination, right? So and it's interesting to say, when will we get around to doing dot 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 whatever it is that we need to do, right? And so wouldn't it just be great to just lay on the couch and I'm just going to take a nap and that's what every business person on social media says, make all this money while you're just, doing nothing. And that is the goal. We want passive income. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. It depends on what we do for a living. However, the the idea of it is that it would be great to be making money, or be able to do things that we're supposed to do in the right amount of time, even if it's a job that doesn't allow us for passive income, so that we do have downtime, as opposed to the other way around, is making the downtime and then putting off things that we need to do. So hopefully what my goal is today is to get you to understand your own personal power, and then understand that you're not alone. Like this is not, you look at yourself and go, gosh, I'm such a procrastinator. But that's not, like, you're not the only person out there. So I have some statistics that I will share with you as we go. All right. So here we go. All right. So this is what we usually say to each other. To ourselves, we want to be doing something now, and then we turn around and say, well, I'll do it tomorrow, and blah, blah, blah. So I have some statistics that I'm going to read quickly. And they're kind of a little bit like all over the place, in a sense of, there's different studies, right? So statistics show that procrastination affects over 20% of the population. Seems like it's more, and technically it probably is. And I'll explain why that is. According to some research, procrastination has more than quadrupled in the last 30 years. Okay. 1978, 5% of the population admitted to being chronic procrastinators, compared to 26% of today. Studies of students surveyed populations suggest that procrastination is pervasive in about 85 to 95% of students, especially college students. Procrastination statistics suggest that 40% of people have experienced financial loss due to procrastination. 1 out of 5 people procrastinate so badly that it may be jeopardizing their jobs, their credit, their relationships, and even their health. A study, human resource professor at University of Calgary stated 95% of the population procrastinate at times, with 20% being chronic. And there's a lot of other statistics that I could say, but there's a couple that really, really stood out for me. So one of them is, to what extent is procrastination having a negative impact on your happiness? 2,700 responses, 46% said quite a bit or very much, and 18% say extreme negative effect. Drinking alcohol is also very common with procrastinators. So that's a consideration, right? Laziness is not a procrastination out of control. So sometimes we'll say that, oh, I'm a procrastinator and I'm lazy. They're not necessarily one and the same. Procrastination and disorganization, however, are integrally linked. And integrally, that's always been a hard word for me to say. According to a 1993 study, people procrastinate experience delay in two key personal areas: self-development and personal maintenance. And it is identified with three causes of procrastination: anxiety, low frustration levels, and tolerance and rebellion. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about some of these things, because here's the way this works. If you know yourself and if you understand what really the procrastination is, then you can deal with it and work with it and change it. All right. Talking about how bad we are at that we're procrastinators or that we're not getting stuff done is not going to make the situation go away. So we have to understand what's going on to be able to fix what's going on, if we are able to, and then work with it as best we can as well. Okay. So what is procrastination? We're going to go simple, and then we're going to go into the juicy stuff. All right. So it's easy. It's the act of postponing, delaying, or putting off. So it is putting off something, delaying it. We all have done it. We've done it with different things. Some things we do more than others with like specific tasks, right? So it can be habitual or intentional. So it could be something that's subconscious that you don't even realize that you're doing, or it could be, I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm not going to do this right now. All right. I think there's people waiting, Colleen, to come in. Okay. So why do we do it? All right. So there's so many reasons why we do this. All right. We do this because it's associated with personal, cognitive, emotional, motivational, and genetic factors. Okay. The personal reasons: cognitive function, our thoughts, emotions, motivation. Yeah. Genetic. Oh no. Because genetic means that it's like, like I've inherited procrastination. And there have been studies that show there is a certain percentage of inherited procrastination. However, don't panic about this, because if it is in your genes, there's also the thought of, the school of thought that you can change your genes, you can change your DNA. So when this is a constant argument within science: is it nature or is it nurture? And many things are starting to show that, you can retrain. So maybe it's just a little harder in some of those individuals, but there are variations, right? So this is why we do it. Okay. We procrastinate for these reasons. We are waiting for the perfect time. I'm notorious for this one. Like, I have to always be very mindful about this piece. We're waiting for the perfect time to do blank, 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 whatever it is. We're looking for the perfect way to do it. That's the other thing for me. All right. We want to be fully prepared or fully ready, because we're looking for perfection, which we all know, right, does not exist. So we want to be fully prepared, fully ready. Fear of failure. Okay, that's always a big one. We don't want to look bad, especially if we're talking about business. We don't want to look bad. So we want to make sure that we do what we need to do first, so that we're, getting out there and looking the way we are, looking professional. And because we don't want to look bad, right? Again, it's that perception of, I want to do this perfect, I want to do this just right, instead of saying, oops, I screwed up. I'm going to learn from this, and hopefully you will too, right? Lack of perfection. Okay, so lack of structure and organization. That's going to be a really big piece. And this is something that is a constant conversation in our business group, but also one-on-one conversations with Colleen. And Colleen is like hella organized. Like, she's like the blocking queen when it comes to like organizing and doing, what she needs to do. Like, do you block going to the bathroom, Colleen, too? Like, do you have on there, okay, bathroom break here? Unfortunately, my colon is it's up for grabs. So I kind of I'm at the mercy there. So we all have our strengths and weaknesses when it comes to organization, but that one is a big one. So that if you know that organizational skills are not your forte, that is one piece that you would need to work on. And so that's something that is for somebody else's conversation or whatever, is to get better at organization. Okay. And structure. Unknown, unpleasant, or uncertainty. If we do not like what we're doing necessarily, or we don't know what it's like, or we're uncertain of the outcome or how to do it, we will put it off. Okay. Timing, short and long-term goals and rewards. Sometimes the goals are so far away that the reward for what we're doing is so far away that we lose interest. We're really very short term in our sense. That's why you always hear this. Oh, for whatever your long-term goals, celebrate the micro wins. Whatever your macro win is going to be, celebrate the in-betweens, but we have to establish them first to be able to celebrate them. Low self-esteem and self-worth, that's another one, and that's another piece that has to be worked on by the individual, whether through coaching. I definitely say coaching, but also their own personal fortitude. They have to do the work themselves, not just go to the coach. And then again, there's that genetics piece. 46%, saying that 46% have the genetics for procrastinating. However, you know, how much of it, like at what level, they don't get into that piece. Okay. All right. So, two main categories of procrastination we need to understand. All right. So, the first one is passive procrastination. Passive procrastination just means that you'll never get it done. Like, these are the people, and we know these people. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I guarantee that nobody in this workshop today is a passive procrastinator, because these are the individuals who really don't get anything done. Like, they just wait and wait, and somebody else will eventually help them. Thank goodness this is not the vast majority of people, but they're out there, right? Because we've been around these people before. Sometimes we think we're these people, and maybe we might have a little bit with certain parts of our personality, but most of the time we're not. Most of the time what we are is we're active procrastinators. In other words, we put things off until the timeline gets so short that we have to take action. And then all of a sudden, what we couldn't concentrate on before and focus on a month ago, when we have 2 days left, we're able to focus on it. It's miraculous, right? Because we get under the gun. And in that sense, active procrastination is very close to those that are non-procrastinators. So it's because they still get it done. But here's the rub. Are you getting it done in a stressful manner, or are you okay with being an active procrastinator? So I learned a few years back that I am an active procrastinator, very much so. And once I learned about it and understood myself, my stress levels went down. And I actually make my schedules based on my active procrastination. Like, I know what I'm capable of. So that's what we're going to talk about, knowing your abilities. So when did I work on this? When did I work on this workshop? Yesterday. That's what I did it. I put this workshop together yesterday. Not that I had stuff in my mind. I had it there. But the reason I did it yesterday was because I knew that I would be able to focus on it in the way that I wanted to. And actually, I'm lying. What's today? Tuesday. I actually worked on it on Sunday. I put it together in the outline on Sunday, and then put all the sides together on Monday. Now, that works for me. That works for me. I know how many days I can do this in, right? I know that other things could come into play. I put all these possibilities in my head, unexpected things. My dad became ill, my elderly dad. That was unexpected. He's requiring my assistance to help him. So in the back of my mind, I'm playing this going, okay, do I have time to put this together? Did I wait too long? Now that I'm added this that was unexpected, am I going to be able to do this? And yes, I pulled it together. When did I finish this? Oh, about 20 minutes before this started. Why? Because I was going through it, and I just run through things all the time. And I added to add, like, things pop into my head, say, oh, I think this would be a really great addition. And I'm okay with that. If I had to drive to do this in person, 20 minutes beforehand wouldn't have been the way I've done it. I would have, but I know me, and that's the biggest piece here. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit we're going to go into my background a little bit here. And Dr. Melissa is going to be all over this. And anybody else who's a science nerd is going to be right all over this. So let's get a little badass nerdy. And we're going to talk a little bit about the brain. I am convinced that the more we know about ourselves, not just how our mind works, but the actual structures that are present in everybody and how they work collectively in anybody, I really believe that. I've taught anatomy and physiology for almost 2 decades. I believe that the more we understand our body, the more we will understand ourselves, right? Because everybody's a certain way, and then what makes us a little bit different. Okay. So we're going to just talk about two brain structures with this. Okay. So the first brain structure is the amygdala. The amygdala is located in, so that's that little, in that picture, it's that little round thing. There's two of them. They're about the size of almonds. In fact, that's actually what the name sort of means is, so they're about the size of almonds. And these suckers, as small as they are unbelievably powerful. They are the main controllers of what we call the limbic brain. It is our emotional brain. They are in charge of the stress response, the specifically fear response. But the amygdala they've studied in recent years has so many more things. So the fight, flight, or fright response, like when we need to have an emergency, the amygdala is gonna come right in to play. But it is about the now, like what is happening right now in this moment, and it's taking action now. So it's involved with evaluating things in the environment to determine their importance, whether their value is, this is important, whether their value is positive or negative, and generating an emotional response to those stimuluses that are considered important. So we could say, okay, I've got this workshop that I need to put my PowerPoint together for, but you know what? I really want to check my social media right now because I want to see what so and so is doing. And at that moment, we decide what's going to bring us more pleasure. And it's going to be, oh, well, the other thing's making me a little stressed because I can't think properly. So I want to just make myself feel better. And so the amygdala will always go with that. It's going to go with what's certain and predictable, meaning that it's predictable for me to go on my social media and find something enjoyable, right? But if I'm working on my thing and it's not coming together the way I want to, or I don't know how long it's going to take me, I might start and be here for 2 more hours. So that's where the amygdala kicks in, and it weighs out the pleasurable things, whether they're positive or negative, but it's short term. So even if it was a negative thing, but it doesn't last that long. It's not about creation, thought, or growth. This is not the time for that, right? So it likes to stay in that comfort zone, that certainty zone. When we're in that place, we are happy, okay? Even if we're not productive. Like I could be looking at my phone going, this is what oh, look at this, look who's doing this on social media, knowing in the back of my mind that I have to get this done, but I'm not worried about that because in that moment I'm excited. It's and that actually adds to it because I don't want to put it down because then I have to think about what I put off and didn't do. Okay. But here's the stress when the stress comes in. Most prefer to be productive. So we get more stressed about it instead of, and we're dealing with that instant gratification of whatever it is that we're working on. It could be that I just decided to clean my closet out, or I wanted to go for a walk. Oh, I have to absolutely need take a walk right now. When I could say no, and I'm going to work for about an hour, then I'll take a walk. But it's that piece that we just want to just get out of the discomfort and do something, even though on the walk you'll be going, okay, I really got to get motivated here. I got to get going. This is really stressing me out. Okay. So then what happens is that we procrastinate most often on things that are unknown or uncertain. We will always choose the things we already know how to do. And in turn, we get this beautiful release of happy chemicals, of which the number one chemical that releases is something called dopamine. And the irony is dopamine is a chemical that is about reaching your goals, right? It is when we reach a goal. So if you make the infamous checklist and you check off something on there, you get this little surge of dopamine and we feel good. We feel proud of ourselves. We feel accomplished. But dopamine is also a very addictive chemical. Our own chemical is addictive. Like dopamine is actually associated with alcohol use, use of cocaine and heroin. It surges dopamine. That's why people get so addicted to it. So this is something that we can make ourselves, but we we have to learn to decide what is going to make us feel like we have this surge of dopamine coming in. What's going to be a goal that we reach? So if you say to yourself, all right, I've got this big paper that I've got to write, or this article that I have to write, or I have to sit and write a chapter of my book, and then you're looking around your house and you're going, well, that's a little untidy over there. And I can't focus. It's too out of place. Now, here's the thing. You're going to go to that thing. It's what you already know how to do. It doesn't take any thought to straighten something out. You feel really good about yourself because now you're looking at it going, it looks fabulous. It's all clean now. It's all organized. You get this huge boost to dopamine and you feel good. And you say to yourself, now I could sit and now I could sit and work on my project. So you sit back down and then you start. And as it's not still, it's like challenging to focus and work and concentrate, you find something else to look around and say, what else can I do? Because it's instant. You don't have to think about it. Okay. So we have to just learn how to work with this because here's the thing, it's very hard to change this routine and this habit. You can, but sometimes, remember, you always hear this, when you fight something, it makes it worse. So the what that we that what we resist persists. So if we're resisting, oh, I'm going to resist getting up and doing this, then you're going to it's just going to keep, you're going to keep thinking about it, and you're not going to be putting your focus on where you need to do it. But now at least you know what's causing it, right? It's this little part in our brain that's causing it. Okay. Now, in addition to the amygdala, I mean, there's so many other structures of the brain, but in the addition to the amygdala, which is that right now stress response, we have what we call the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the executive functioning of our brain. It is the one that's in charge. It is the area that develops last. It's fully developed by the time you're 25 years old. And this is the thing like reasoning, impulse control, working memory, analysis, consequences of action. So it makes sense that teens don't have really good impulse control and analysis and consequences of actions, right? But it's this piece right here. So what happens is that's the piece that comes into play and says, okay, amygdala, calm it down now, take it easy. Let's think this through for a minute. You're getting all worked up that you're stressing out that you have to work on this, but we have to work on this. This is the more reasoning portion of the brain, right? And so we have to learn how to balance these two out, right? So if the prefrontal cortex always I'm sorry, the amygdala always wins out over the prefrontal cortex. Even as rational as you can be, if you're stressed, your rationality goes out the window. That's why it is known as the stress response, the amygdala. Once we get to that level, you will not be able to rationalize yourself out until you train yourself to do so with things like mindfulness practice. Okay. So that being said, all right, I urge you to check out Tim Urban's YouTube viral video. There's like 38 million views on this. It is the funniest 17 minutes of his explanation of impulsivity. Called Inside the Mind of a Master Procrastinator. And he talks about that everyone has a rational decision maker in their mind, and the mind of procrastinators, however, is home to what's called the instant gratification monkey. And he says it seems the rational decision maker in the procrastinator's brain is coexisting, and it would be fine and cute, but the monkey takes over and will push the decision maker, the rational decision maker, out of the space. So he's there holding the wheel to steer everything, but the instant gratification monkey will grab a hold of the wheel and turn it in any direction to say, oh no, we need to look at this. Oh no, we need to look at. How many times have you been researching something for what you're working on? Maybe it's an article, maybe it's that chapter in the book, maybe it's business marketing, something, and you're researching, and then on the side are those little boxes that says, oh, hey, look what so and so looks like now, and you're like, oh my god, I got to look to see what they look like now, and you click, and instantly you get distracted. And it's that instant gratification monkey, because the instant gratification monkey wants gratification right at that moment and doesn't care what you're working on. It just wants the boost of those chemicals. But here's the other piece. He talks about that we have what's called the panic monster. And the monkey is terrified of the panic monster. So for those that are active procrastinators, as the deadline gets closer, the panic monster pops out. And the minute the panic monster pops out, the monkey runs up the tree. And now the rational decision maker is now in control and focused. Okay. When your panic monster comes out, it depends on you. Some people it's like hours before, some people it's days before, some people it's a couple of weeks before. But here's the key though, is that if you connect to this idea, if you believe that, hey, that kind of describes me, the goal is to not really get upset about that your work that way. You say, okay, how do I get rid of that monkey? You don't. But we can learn to tame the monkey. We can learn to get the monkey to relax. That maybe we throw some bananas over to the side and we're going to be running that wheel for a little while, and that monkey is not going to bother us until it gets a little bored after a certain period of time. So there are ways to train the monkey to and let the monkey be preoccupied with other things, but maybe not get rid of the monkey altogether. See, again, if we try to fight it, we only make it harder on ourselves. So the best way is, okay, how can I work with it? Now, if you learn how to work with it, maybe the monkey will go away. That's just it. Or maybe the monk will just be like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to bother you anymore. But if you do steps to get to that level and just work towards it and say, well, I'm just going to go with what I know best and I'll get there when I get there, then it's fine. And then the monkey may still be there, but you know how to work it, or the monkey just takes a seat. Okay. So here's the thing though, if we keep doing it the way we're doing it, if we feel that we are unproductive and we're procrastinating, we're perpetuating the cycle. And the more we do anything, any bad habit, the stronger it gets and the harder it is to break. So we have to, again, we can't just say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm not going to procrastinate. We will maybe be okay for one day, but then it will start to come back because it's ingrained. You have to retrain, right? And so even if you put all these steps into motion, you have to have you have to have a lot of tools to work with. You can't just use one piece. You have to do a bunch of different things. So the first thing is to change our perception of it. If you say, okay, I identify the fact that I'm a procrastinator. Okay, boom, right? The first step is always know there's a problem. And then you say, okay, what do I need then how can I change my idea of this? How can I make this work for me? Instead of saying, I don't want to be a procrastinator anymore. I just want to be I want to be one of those non-procrastinators. But when we look statistically, there's very few non-procrastinators because even the people who are just phenomenal across the board, like let's say with their business, like they are so focused, they don't procrastinate, they're building these things, they're incredible. We can always find something that they procrastinate on. And it could be their health, and maybe not tremendously. Maybe they only procrastinate a little bit, but there's always something there. Maybe it's their house. Their house is always on the messy side because they don't put the time into that either for them to clean it or get somebody else to do it. So know that first off, you're not alone, not the only one, right? Okay. So yes, you're not screwed. Okay. Everything is fixable, right? Everything is figure outable. I think that's right. What's her name says? Oh my God, I just so blanked on her name. One of
Marie
my favorite.
Farleo.
Yes, thank you. Marie Forleo, she's awesome. Okay. But here's the thing, right? Why put a picture like this? First of all, I think it's hilarious. Like that lady is just too funny. So don't panic, right? But knowing yourself, what do I use for mine? I am all about humor. Like I love to laugh. I love to make people laugh. I love to bring fun and laughter into my life. So I have to make these things funny. I don't mean like this, the picture. I mean that whenever I'm working on something, I have to bring humor into my day so that I'm not stressing about it, right? Okay, so the first thing starts off with your awareness of who you are, your situation. Okay, identifying the procrastination in you. So thinking and looking inward, right? So in other words, know thyself. All right. So before I understood myself, that was me. So if I had the deadline coming up, I was freaked out about it and I was stressed out about it. But once I learned who I was and what I was capable of and what I can do in a very short period of time, and I started doing mindfulness practice, then I became a lot calmer. So, yes, are there moments where I've pulled like really late nights doing stuff because I put it off? Yes. But I said to myself, okay, you did this to yourself. You're going to be stressed about it, or you're going to be okay about it and just get it done. That's the difference. Before, I used to be stressed about it. I used to be mad. I would get mad at everybody around me when I was really mad at myself. But now I'm like, okay, nope, I'm going to own it. This is it. Right. So we want to own this. We want to own this piece. So this is what you want to ask yourself. Okay. And you could take a picture of this so that you can think about these questions. You don't have to think about the answer them right now if you don't want to. Or you can in the chat. Please feel free. I love that. What do I procrastinate on? Identify the things that you procrastinate on, because some of them might not be all that important. If you say I procrastinate on, you know, cleaning my house, or cleaning out the fridge, okay, but that's not a horrible thing to procrastinate on. But maybe it is important to you. Maybe you don't want people seeing what's in there, but there's ways to get around that, so. But if you're saying I'm procrastinating a lot in my business and I'm not having the success that I want to have, then that needs to be addressed, right? So make a list of what you procrastinate on, whether it's a little bit or a lot. Then ask yourself for each of those answers, why? Why am I procrastinating about that? Is it that I don't know? Is it that I'm unsure? Is it I'm afraid of failure? Is it I'm afraid of success? Is it that I just don't like to do it? Okay. What is your biggest trigger with your procrastination? Again, this is all about awareness, knowing thyself. What's your biggest trigger? What are my distractions? Okay. I work from home. And if you work from home, your whole home, if you have children or a spouse, because let's face it, they're a child. If you have children in your household, if you have pets in your household, okay. I have my elderly parents in my household. They're all a potential distraction. Okay. Because your physical body is in the building, they will assume that you are accessible to them. Anything that happens, they will bother you. Even if you say, please don't bother me during this call. I've got to blah, blah, blah. And then you'll hear a knock at the door. Even if you put a sign that says, I'm recording, please don't bother me right now. I've done it this time. They'll knock on the door. And then when you stop, you go, what? Didn't you see? Oh, there was a sign? So it's one of those things like, what are your distractions? That's one piece. But then you have to admit, what are your own distractions? What are you allowing yourself to be distracted with? It could be that your phone is next to you. And if it dings, we're like Pavlov's dogs, we're like salivating every time the phone rings, and so the phone rings, ding, and we look to see what it is. That's a distraction, and you need to get it away from you. You need to put it in the other room and say, for the next hour, I'm working. I'm not going to have the phone, including your notifications that pop up onto your laptop. Because again, it's, oh, look, I got a message in LinkedIn. Oh, look, I got a message in Facebook. I've got to check it. What am I feeling? What am I feeling about in general? Okay. First, let's start that. How am I feeling today? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling frustrated with myself? Then get it a little bit more deep, or get it deeper. How am I feeling about these things that I procrastinate about? How do I feel when I don't get that done? How do I feel when I put that off? And then also identified if you're an active or passive procrastinator. Why is this important? And especially if we said, oh, we don't want to admit that we're a passive procrastinator. But remember, we want to know our truth. If you say there's the one thing that I never do, I'll admit, and Colleen could completely, she will agree with me on this one. It takes me forever to clean my bathroom. So we've already had this. She doesn't like cleaning her bathroom, right? So she identified that. So she gets somebody to do it, right? I've yet to do that. So my mother will clean the bathroom because that's what she likes to do. But I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm like, okay, so my mother's my cleaning lady for the bathroom, right? But if my mother can't do it anymore, thank goodness she can. But if she can't, then I would hire somebody to do it, because I don't get around to do it. I don't hate doing it. I just would prefer not to do it. And it would take me forever to do it. I will do it at some point. So I guess you could say it's active, but there's really no timeline for me on that one. So identify, mostly you're probably active procrastinator, but what are the pieces that are passive? Okay. And here's one thing before we get into towards the end of this, food for thought. Now, we sometimes are so hard on ourselves that we say, God, I'm such a bad procrastinator. I'm procrastinating on this. Are you sure it is procrastination? If you are putting everything off, even the easy, comfortable tasks, it might not be procrastination. It might actually be burnout. And so you have got to honor yourself and you have to ask yourself, am I not, because I've done this before, I could find a gazillion things to do other than my work for my business, right? But then there's some days where I don't want to do anything, like nothing. And I just want to plop in the bed and either go to sleep or plop in the bed and put on a TV show. I could watch one of my shows and do a little bit of work, but there's moments where I just can't, like I can't do it. And that's when I have to look at myself and say, okay, what's going on? Are you burnt out? What have you done for yourself? What self-care have you done today for yourself? And then honor it. So if I say, God, I have a deadline, but I have nothing left to give, and I just want to watch Heartland for the rest of the night, which is my favorite go-to show right now, and I'll just put it on and I'll honor myself and say, okay, so do this for an hour, then go to bed, and then get up, and you're going to feel good. Okay. Or the other little piece, it could be depression. And so again, that's why using those questions on the previous slide will really help you, because if you're feeling that there's more to it than just putting things off, that you're really wanting to put things off all the time, actively ask yourself, am I burnt out? Could it be depression? And if that's the case, then seek help for that. Like go get outside help for that piece. Okay. All right. So, but if it is procrastination, all right, what do we want to focus on here? So what to do? All right. So I'm going to put these up each individually. And then when I'm done, I definitely recommend that you take a picture of it. And then we should have plenty of time for any questions and something that I want to share with you. So first one is be you. Okay. Be your authentic self. Nobody is perfect. You are fabulous the way you are. We are always open for improvement. We are like a fine wine. We get better with age, especially ladies. And ladies are awesome. We rock. We totally overrule, right? So but we have to honor ourselves, okay? We have to love ourselves. We have to be proud of our strengths and honor our vulnerabilities. And once you know what your vulnerabilities are, that's what you can help yourself change those, right? So be authentically you and transform yourself. Visualize your goals and your future. Okay. Hang them on the wall. Vision boards are really good for this because it keeps reminding you what you're working for. If you don't see it, you don't see the bigger picture, you lose your momentum. That's why vision boards are so fantastic. And if you're such a procrastinator that you're like, I don't even feel like making a vision board, then just print out pictures of the things that you want and just put them up on the wall. They don't have to be in this fancy vision board with these beautiful sayings. And I mean, people make these. Just take a picture, print it, and put it up on the wall. That it's not that hard to do. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then maybe it'll motivate you to actually put it into something that's even nicer. Put it as your screensaver. That's another thing. When you're sitting in front of your computer and you're not using your computer, use it as a screensaver so that you see your vision board going across in video. You can do that on your phone as well. Keep tight deadlines. Don't say I've got a week to do this. I've got 4 hours to do this. So for the next 2 hours, I'm working on this. The tighter we are, see, when we know we have a long deadline, procrastinators will always follow towards the end. And what's worse is you have no deadline. If you have no deadline, that's the worst thing that could ever happen to a procrastinator. If you say, I don't know when this is going to be done because I don't really have a specific deadline, it will never get done. Or it could, but it's just going to take a long, long time. All right, take scheduled breaks. Honor yourself with, giving yourself that break. Okay, I'm going to work for an hour, then I'm going to take my break. And what am I going to do for my break? What am I going to, honor myself with? And you've been hearing me say this over and over again of honoring self. We have to be respectful to ourselves. Even when we're hard on ourselves about being a procrastinator, if you are a successful procrastinator, then what's the harm with being a procrastinator? Like I said, you just have to make it work for you. Set limits on yourself. You know, say, okay, that really is bothering me. I'm going to clean that, but I have to work on this. And you keep going back and forth and you keep looking at that corner and okay, it says, okay, listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to go deal with this. Okay. Cause I know I want to make myself feel better. Talk to yourself if you need to. I have great conversations with myself all the time. Some of the best. And then go allow yourself, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes or 20 minutes to deal with this. Then I'm going to come back and that's it. And it's in the beginning, it's a little hard to do that, but as you do it more and more, it will be easier and you will actually follow through with that. But it takes a little practice. Okay. Separate want self from should self. Your want self is what do I want to do right now? Because if you're excited about writing, then it's great. You'll do it. But if you're not and you find something else, you're going to want to do that. Remember the instant gratification monkey. So you're saying, what do I want to really do right now? I want to go out and go for a drive and go get ice cream. But what should I be doing right now? So you want to separate those. And again, honor the little spurts of gratification, but also say, okay, but now I have to do this. Limit distractions. We talked about that one. Combine instant gratification with habits that include long-term rewards. Okay, so what's this one? So this is an example. If you are working on a project and you know that you can have music on in the background that makes you very happy, like dance music or whatever, then do it. If you could be outside sitting in a park bench working on something, then do it. Combine that. For me, sometimes I'll sit at night and I'll be working on something and I have my go-to show in the background. If I know I will not be distracted by the go-to show, then I will couple both of them together. If I see that I'm too distracted by the show, then I either make a decision, turn the TV off or put this away for now and honor myself with just this time and then go to bed. Okay. But figure out what you can combine so you feel like you're satisfying the monkey, but also getting stuff done. Make a task list, not a to-do list, but a task list. This is what I need to get done. What are the things that I need that have to be done today? It's the same thing, but it's sort of telling your mind something a little bit different. Okay. Decide what you like and don't like and outsource when necessary. You don't have to do it all. If there's something you really don't like to do, then if you can afford not to do it, give it to somebody else, and then you can focus on what you need to do. Okay. Whether this is in business or this is your house. If you like I love doing yard work, but it can be a very big distraction for me because I could do it all day. But maybe what I do is hire somebody to do certain pieces of it and leave certain pieces to me, the most satisfying pieces, and then allow myself to have those. Because I love I love looking at cut grass. Like it is the most satisfying. I know I'm so weird, nerdy. I pull out of my driveway when my grass is cut, and I'll just pause for a moment and go, oh, look how nice that looks. So I'll hire somebody to cut my grass. The kid down the street could do it. Separate essential and non-essential tasks. Okay, we want to always be doing essential, but we can't not do the non-essential tasks are the ones that we tend to like to do. We have to honor ourselves with them. Be mindful of when you are most and least productive. If you are very productive in the morning, that is when you want to do your hardest tasks that you tend to put off. I am most productive in the morning. And science actually says that as the day progresses, we get less and less motivated. The ones that require a lot of thought are harder to do. Now, that's for majority of the people. Some people get their second wind and they're night owls. And between the hours of 10 p.m. and 3 a.m., they are very creative. But again, it's about knowing thyself. If you know that's who you are, then beautiful. Okay. That's when you would work. Get accountability support. You need that accountability partner. You need somebody to push you, see what you're working on. All right. And last thing, be kind to yourself. Just be nice to yourself. Okay. Don't slam yourself for putting things off, but recognize it and say, what can I do better tomorrow? And I believe that's the last piece there. So if you want to take a picture of it, feel free to do so before I go on to the next one. And what I want to offer you today is, let me make sure that there was a 15. Practice mindfulness, stress management. This is big. 5 minutes. It doesn't take long enough to meditate for 2 hours. You could just sit for 5 minutes and breathe. And if you're in the midst of procrastinating and you have a deadline and you're like, I got to get my stuff together, close your eyes for a moment. Sit up in your chair. Just breathe. 5 minutes. You breathe in for 5 minutes. Breathe in and out for 5 minutes. Just repeat it for 5 minutes. Just give yourself that space. Say, I love you to yourself. I love me. I'm great at this. I've got my focus. You got this. And just be kind. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to put this in the chat, but I would love, this is what I'm offering you today. So my business is based on what I call the 7 core pillars of alignment, and it's aligning with your authentic self to really get stuff done. And it's different elements of your life. It's your mind, it's your mental, it's your emotional state, your social, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to put that in the chat, and you could download that, and it asks you questions and it makes recommendations. And then if you still need further information, you can click on there and find out more information. And then if you're interested in also a free 30-minute alignment evaluation, and I'm going to give you the link for that. So for those of you that are interested, let me know, put it in the chat right now. I see there's a lot of stuff in the chat, so I'm going to get to that right now. If you're interested in that. And then these are the ways to get in contact with me. And if you want to go ahead and take a picture of that, that is fine. I've been slack on my TikTok. I've been procrastinating on my TikTok, which is good because my teen daughter really didn't want me to be on TikTok in the first place. So she's probably glad that I haven't been showing up on TikTok. So, okay. So let me get to the chat and see what we've got. And
We've been doing a lot of chatting. So we've been going back and forth, and we've just been talking about what we procrastinate on, why we procrastinate on it. So I'd love to open up the floor for the next 5 minutes I know some people had to pop off for other calls, but Tanya, we were just talking back and forth on chat, and you're saying you're trying to fit other things in, block around other things, schedule in which I don't have any control. Oh, okay. I understand. Before, your schedule was based all on you, and now you're saying that, okay, got it. Yeah. So I think that, and Tanya's interested in chatting with you, Lori, to learn more. So Tanya, drop your email in there as well. So that and she also put her information in there.
Right.
I think the evaluation is very helpful because the evaluation is going to answer some questions for you. I remember I was working with medical practitioner, and she had me do an evaluation of how I was feeling, all of the stuff in my body. Then I scored like an 86, and I'm like, oh, I must be doing really good because I'm under 100. And she said, oh, if you're over 25, there's a bunch of things wrong with you. And I was like, what? So the self-evaluation is nice, right? Because we're just answering it about how we feel and what's going on in our lives. And then we can really understand if we need additional help in a certain area or not, so I think it's very helpful to have that. And we've been going back and forth a lot as well on here. We've been going back and forth a lot on here, Lori, with just talking about what are you procrastinating on? Why are you procrastinating? What are the things that are causing procrastination? I mean, let's just face it, ladies, we'd all be big fat liars if we said we didn't procrastinate, right? I mean, you would all agree with that we would be. So with that being said, what are you going to do about it? If you're procrastinating and it's causing issues in your work, your relationships, your revenue, it's going to just keep going and getting worse. It doesn't get better if you ignore it and just shove it under the rug. So I guess, what are you guys going to do about it? I'm going to ask that question. Like for me, I told Tanya, when I get overwhelmed with something, I time block. And I put it on my schedule and say, I've got to do this. I've got to do this, even though it might be overwhelming and I don't even know how to do it all. I've got to start down the path, and I've got to block off my schedule, and that forces me to do it. What are some other things that you guys can do or have done or put in place or will do about it? You can unmute yourself.
Anyone? Bueller? No? Anybody see that movie? I hope.
Okay, so Melissa's typing. So some people are typing here. So
we're trying to
myself as a client, blocking off time.
Yes, Lindy. Yes, you can get the chat, the links. Yep.
Yeah, we'll send it to you. No problem. Don't worry about it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my microphone wasn't working at first. So some of the things that I'm trying to do is, like I said, with my schedule, I try to sit down at like on Sunday and I have a paper calendar as well as my phone, and try to put everything that's in my phone in my calendar so that I can see where my blocks are. so that's helping a little bit. But one of the things I find has helped me a lot, and I just need to do more of it, is to try to do things in 15-minute increments and to keep my phone on silence. Because I am much more productive when I'm keeping it on silence, and say no a lot more. So last year I found with the pandemic, there were just so many opportunities to do things virtually. And I was like opting into almost everything. So this year I'm trying to be much more strategic about the opportunities that I accept. So that way I'm not filling all my time when I need to be doing other things. I'm also a what I call a lifetime continuous student. So I love learning about things and just balancing that, because I, would love to just be in school all the time, or just, be on conferences and all of those things all the time, but that's not making me money unless doing that. So there are other things I need to be doing. So I just need to be more strategic about things that I accept.
Absolutely, I agree. And you might want to actually think about going to one calendar. So either it be digital or either it be all paper, but instead of going back between the two, which is causing more time, just consider maybe going to one. I would consider going to all digital, but that's up to you.
Well,
Yeah.
the nice thing is if you've got a good CRM, a good contact relationship management system, it can synchronize all your calendars and your contacts and everything. So, it's one-stop shopping no matter what device you're using. The
Yeah.
other nice thing that I like to do is turn off notifications for email. So I only read email when I go to it to read.
Yeah, same. I don't have any notifications for email. My phone has been on silent, and I've seen 4 phone calls come in and several text messages, and I'll get to them when I'm done.
Yeah.
If something's really wrong, trust me, my phone will keep blowing up, and then I'll notice it. And if it's a child, then I'll answer it. But if it's not someone in the family, then it'll wait until I'm finished.
But you see, like it's becoming aware of what it is that you're struggling with and identifying it. And then once you put it out there, look, all of a sudden, Mary, which by the way, Mary, I love the hair. I love your color hair. But what happens is that you voice it, and then all of a sudden somebody has a potential, they can potentially solve the problem for you. Say, oh, okay, so Colleen comes out with condensing to one calendar, and then Mary comes out with, getting it all organized. And and that might be one piece, and that is a huge piece, because that is one piece that I struggled with, and that's what Colleen helped me get to, was switching to digital, getting it all like talking to each other, and that made a big difference, right? Then it opens up to you being noticing the other areas where, okay, so that piece is solved. Now where else am I struggling? And little by little you start to make more and more time, for yourself, so that you're not procrastinating as much as you used to.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know we're ending here because we're getting ready to go at the top of the hour. So I want to thank all of you for being here. And this is probably, I would say, the number one thing that gets in all of our way. And procrastination, like she said, it just turns into something bigger, right? We get overwhelmed, we put things off, and putting things off is not going to solve anything. But I love the steps that Lori put together, which is identify it, name it, figure out how to solve it, get an accountability partner, work with other people to assist you to solve and work through, so you don't procrastinate, or so that you're procrastinating in very few things in your lives versus everything in your lives, because you're in this state of overwhelm. So Lori, thank you again for bringing all your nerdiness today. I always learn so much about science and the brain and the body when I get to talk with Lori. So I love that so much. And I'm going to say, definitely take advantage of what Lori has to offer. Click on her link now, save your chat, or click on her link just so it opens up, and you guys can go ahead and download her assessment, because it's a really great assessment for all of you to use. So Lori, thank you again for being here, for being a member of Lead Up for Women. You guys don't forget about the Lunch and Learn on Thursday, May 6th at 11 a.m. It's 90 minutes of networking for you to network and go into Zoom rooms and meet a bunch of other women and Lead Up for Women. And that's a great place to get an accountability partner. So think about that. It's a great place to meet some other friends. So if you haven't already, just go to the website and click on the events, click on Lunch and Learn. I'm going to go ahead and put a code. Use that code. You can use guest LNL or a member LNL, and you'll get to register for free. All right, ladies. Okay, we hope we see you there on Thursday. Lori, thank you so much. Have a
Thanks,
wonderful week,
everybody.
ladies. We'll see you
Bye.
next Tuesday. Bye-bye.